Hello and welcome to the video. This video is carrying on from the video that I did a little while ago talking about the difference between flight controllers and flight stabilizers. Now I've had a couple of flight stabilizers in here and I want to kind of show you how I set these up. Now the most basic one out of all the three that I've got in is actually called the A3-L. It's the version 2 that I've got here, which is the latest and greatest version of the firmware. It's not firmware flashable by yourself. This just happens to be the latest one kicking around. So I've got all the latest versions in so we can have a look at them. And in this video what I'm going to do is not kind of go through what they do for you and how they correct everything, because that was in that previous video. More about how you set this up. And we're going to start with the simplest one first, and then I'll create two more videos, one for each of the family of stabilizers. Now before we get into this, let me very quickly put up a slide. This is the three stabilizers that I've got in to try. I ordered all of these from Motion RC here in the EU, so I'll put links in the description if you want to go and have a look at them. Now we're looking at the A3-L, which is the top one. It only provides 2D and 3D mode, so standard normal stabilization and the ability to lock the craft into a specific attitude. All of these support remote gain, so you can set up a little rotating control on your radio and dynamically control the gain. I'll show you what that looks like at the end of the video. They all support S-Bus as well. And that's one of the big reasons I'm actually making this video, because I want to show how the S-Bus stuff works. It's actually quite cool and means that you can use some very simple wiring to set it up, and they all support reasonably high voltage. Now you can see the A3 Pro has auto recovery and auto hover, and then the A3 Super 3, which is the last one I'll do a video for, actually has all of that and it's upgradable as well, and you actually set that one up using a computer. So enough of me waffling on, let me show you how I've actually installed the A3-L V2 into a plane here, actually a little wing, and got it all flying. So the first thing to do is to make sure that the model memory on the radio is going to work with the stabilizer. Now the stabilizer is quite cleverly going to do the mixing if you have a V-tail or if you have a flying wing, so you need to remove all of that from your radio so that you have a very clean aileron, elevator, throttle and rudder, and you also have an extra couple of channels as well. Now I'm actually going to connect the receiver that I'm going to use here to the stabilizer using S-Bus. So the order of the channel that I'm going to be using is going to be aileron, elevator, throttle, rudder. I'm going to have a mode switch that's going to be a 3-position switch that's going to allow me to select between stabilizer off, standard stabilization mode or 2D mode, and also 3D mode as well. And I've got one of the rotating controls on the radio set up on channel 6, and that's going to do the gain. So I would recommend setting it up like this. If you have a standard 4-channel radio where each of the control surfaces has its own dedicated output and a pretty standard setup, then you don't have to worry about it. It's only if you're doing any special mixing in the radio you need to strip that out. Next job then I'd recommend is to go through the menu. To get into the menu with this, you press and hold the button for 2 seconds and then it will start to flash. Each sequence of flashing will show you what part of the menu you're looking at. So 1 flash is wing type, 2 flashes is aileron gyro direction, then 3 flashes is elevator gyro direction, and so on. When you get to the one that you're interested in, you press the button briefly, then it will start to flash either blue, red, or red and blue, which kind of looks purpley, to show you which of those options you have. Now I would recommend, before you put it in the plane, just setting it up, making sure you're familiar with how this all works. And I'm setting it up so that the wing type is set for a delta wing or a flying wing, so I've got the elevon mixing that I need, and I'm also going down to receiver type, and by default it's set for a standard receiver, which is where you're going to wire up the receiver into the inputs of the stabilizer using the aileron, elevator and rudder, along with the mode and the gain inputs. This time I'm just going to do that all with S-Bus. Once you've got everything set, then you just press and hold the button for another 2 seconds. The lights will flash again and then it will go back. I personally recommend just go through that process a couple of times on the bench. Make sure that you're happy. When we put this inside the plane, we are going to have to double check that the gyro direction for the aileron, elevator and rudder are all okay. And then obviously the only other thing we potentially look at is the mounting orientation. Now we've got all that done, we can put it in the plane. So if you've already had this inside a fixed wing, and again I'd always recommend putting a stabilizer into a fixed wing you've already flown, then you're going to unplug the servos for the aileron, elevator and rudder from the receiver, and you're going to put them into the output as per the diagram. Now, depending on whether or not you're putting it in a conventional plane, you're going to wire it up like this, or if you're going to put it into a flying wing, you're going to wire up the servos into the aileron and elevator outputs like this. Now that's what I've done, but I've also then connected the output of my receiver into the S-bus input. Now that allows me to send all of those 6 channels over that single cable and makes the wiring an awful lot simpler to look after and to manage. And the other thing I've done is, because the 3rd channel in the channel order on the radio is going to be throttle, I've just kept the ESC plugged into channel 3 on the receiver. Now I'm using an X4R receiver here, so I can get my S-bus signal out into the stabilizer, and also channel 3 for the throttle is still usefully presented, so I can just plug in there as well. So now, with the prop removed, because we don't want to accidentally start everything up, we can test everything's okay. So first of all, I'm just going to power the system using a 5-volt battery eliminator circuit. I'm going to plug it into one of the spare sets of pins on the receiver to power everything up. So now I'm going to move the mode switch so that stabilization is turned off, and then I'll double check that all the surfaces move correctly, and if they're not, then I'm going to reverse them in the radio, and I'm also going to center all the control surfaces using the sub trim on the radio, just as you would in any normal airplane setup or wing setup. There's nothing different so far. Now we've done that, however, we need to check the direction of the correction. Now what you need to do, I would recommend putting it into the 3D mode, AVCS mode, and that is going to move the controls in a slightly more exaggerated way. And what you need to do is to rotate the model in each axis and make sure that the control surface is moving to correct that uncommanded movement. So for example, if I move the right wing up, I should see the right aileron move up as well to push the wing back down into position. If I lift the tail up, the elevator should rise up to try and counteract that uncommanded movement, and similarly with the rudder. But surprise, surprise, with mine, every single one of them had to be reversed. So I went into the menu again, press and hold the button for 2 seconds, wait until 2 flashes. That shows me I'm looking at aileron gyro direction. The normal direction is blue. So while it's in there, I press it once and it goes to red, which shows me it's reversed. And I have to do that for both the aileron, the elevator, and when all of those are reversed, then I can press the button again and exit out of it. And again, confirm that the correction is in the right direction. I'd always triple check that bit, because if you get that bit wrong, it's going to be horrible. Once you've done that, then you can go out to the field and you can give it a fly. So this is inside this little AR mini wing. I've just popped one in here. It didn't come with the stabilizer as standard, and it fits beautifully. With these stabilizers, it also comes with a nice big capacitor that just is there to protect it from any little voltage drops, so that it doesn't reboot or have any kind of problems in flight. So now it's all installed, we can take it out to fly and actually throw it into the air and give it a go. I would always recommend initially launching in manual mode, which is why it's always handy putting it into a model that you've already flown before, and then once it's in the air, flick it into stabilize mode, see if that behaves, increase the gain. And what you'll see here is that if I just insert the FPV footage in the bottom right hand corner, you'll see more clearly on the FPV footage you get this horrible vibration. That just means that the gain is too high. So I tend to reduce the gain so it's just below the level where you get that oscillation, and that should give you the best performance. Now gain is something you can change, because you might need to change the gain on a windy or a calm day, depending on how hard the stabilizer needs to work to keep the plane in the attitude that you're after. So that's it, it's all in, it's all done. So to finish off, let me just go through some of the top tips. First of all, I'd always recommend that you fly the model, you trim it, you know the center of gravity needs to be, you know what the throws need to look like before you do anything about adding a stabilizer. I always try and place the stabilizer as close to the center of gravity as possible. That'll give it its clearest view of what's happening with the plane so that it can correct it for you. Make sure it is mounted securely. All of these from HobbyEagle come with nice thick foam pads. If the stabilizer moves at all, it'll think that that's the plane moving, and you get some really wacky stuff. So make sure that you have really clean surfaces and stick it down really well. Always make sure again that there's an off mode so you can turn it off in case of a problem. If it starts to do something a bit weird and you don't like it, then being able to disable the stabilizer is always going to be handy. The other thing you may have noticed when setting it up, when you initially plug it in, the blue light flashes for a handful of seconds, and then it thinks about it for a moment, and then all of the control surfaces burst into life. You need to leave a stabilizer nice and still while all that initialization is done, and it learns what being still actually feels like. It's something that a lot of pilots, when they start to play with stabilizers, don't realize, and they just plug it in and just carry it to the flight line as you would normally. I would recommend you have the plane on the ground, on landing gear, you plug it in, and then you just leave it alone. I'd count to 10 in your head, and then double check that all the control surfaces and everything works. And that's my last tip. Double check that the correction works as well, and that something weird and wacky hasn't happened, or you haven't accidentally caught the button or changed one of the commands, so that every time you fly, then when you turn on the stabilizer, you get a good positive result. So join me in the next video where we'll have a look at putting the A3 Pro into another model. And as I go up the HobbyEagle range, you'll notice that there's new features, functionality, and even things like being able to forward channels onto spare outputs on some of these stabilizers as we get into the A3L's bigger brothers. Thank you for taking the time to watch that video, and particularly for watching right to the very end. We try and release a video on Tuesday and Friday, and sometimes we'll release 1 or 2 extra ones in a week as well. All of the videos on the channel are organised into easy to use playlists, so do have a look in there, because if you're interested in a subject, we organise all the videos on that subject so you can find them easily all together in one place. If you like what we're doing, then please like and subscribe and tell others about the channel so they can come and join as well. We're available in all of the usual social media places, particularly in places like Instagram, Twitter, and we also share all of our 3D designs on Thingiverse.